Greetings, family. This is Kyle Dixon, co-founder of Precise Minds Filmworks, educator for 20 plus years, cultural enthusiast.
And I'm Kaide Bentley, president and founder of Forties Teaching Teens to Think, professor at Fordham University.
And with that said, welcome to the Grand Rising Collective, a podcast whose purpose is to cultivate greatness and excellence within ourselves and our communities. The name itself is from the morning greeting of Grand Rising, which we interpret as starting off the day with a greatness mindset so that we are able to rise to the occasion of whatever obstacles and challenges we may face.
And that's why we focus on engagement, relevant information, and empowerment for people in our communities who want to be and do better in their daily lives.
Welcome to the Grand Rising Collective.
Greetings, family. Welcome to another episode of the Grand Rising Collective. You have myself, your co-host, Kyle Dixon, along with my partner in podcast, Kaide Bentley. Say what's up to the people, Kaide.
What's up, people? What's up, family? Thank you for joining us for another episode. You know how Kyle be doing. He be bringing the bangers. So we got Dr. Pooch who's joining us today. It's going to be another good one. So hang on to your seats or sit tight, whatever they say. It's going to be a nice one.
Yeah, indeed. So, family, we got a definitely special guest for you, brother Dr. Pooch. You know, we met this brother. I've heard of his name before we met officially, but we met him at an event in New York recently in Brooklyn, and the brother was just so humble to share his knowledge with us and engage with myself and Kaide. So we had to bring him on to share some of his knowledge and wisdom and experience with us. So Dr. Pooch, welcome, my brother. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I didn't know that. I didn't know you heard of me before we actually met.
Yeah.
I just pop out. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, I was just talking about you," and I just pop out like a superhero. It's such a blessing, man. It's such a blessing that I have that impact on people. Like the other day, people were surprised. I had some coworkers. They were surprised. This woman said, "You're a doctor." Oh my gosh. It's because she had been hearing about me in the community. And so, this work, the energy that I'm receiving is just a blessing, man. It's a blessing to be what I'm doing and to represent what I'm doing.
Yeah, brother. That's definitely a beautiful thing, man. When the community can speak for you, without having you like to announce yourself, that, man, what do they say? Your reputation precedes you. So
precedes, exactly.
Yeah, man. So that's beautiful, bro. That's beautiful, man. So family, we're gonna hop right in, man. Dr. Pooch, we're in New York City. You're not a native New Yorker. I'm not a native New Yorker. The only one is Kaide here. BX. I'll throw it up for him. BX.
Come on, BX, I represent.
Yeah, exactly that. So how did you get, man, because you're from the West Coast, the left coast, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So like you said, the popping out. So how'd you pop out here to the East Coast, man? Yeah. How'd you get
everybody? I always say anybody that is about greatness from LA, they had to pop out to New York and really get those vibes. And New York really embraced them and took their career to a whole new level. And I feel like I had to follow that same path. So I was in LA. I really kind of reached a plateau in terms of like the impact of in my neighborhood and surrounding areas. Mm-hmm. And I got an opportunity through my sister who was already established out here to move out. She was actually living in BX at the time. So, first time I moved here, for the first about 9 months to a year, mm-hmm. we were in the Bronx and, I got that flavor. Meanwhile, I'm going to Manhattan. I'm going to Brooklyn. I got a flavor of the whole city. And really, I was able to spread my name and spread my mission around almost all of the boroughs. I haven't been to Staten Island, Long Island, all those things yet, but I'm still discovering. So New York kind of gravitated me here from the West Coast, and I always call New York an accelerator. And people that know people that are into business and know what they're, they know like, things move fast in New York, so it's literally an accelerator. So I was blessed to just have an opportunity to come out here, and it hasn't even been 2 years, like not even a year and a half, and things are just moving so well. New York is such a vibe, man. LA is, I'm especially right now, LA is, I'm proud of LA and everything that's happening, definitely. But New York has allowed me to grow in many ways.
Yeah, I agree, man. LA is definitely a vibe in itself. New York is definitely a vibe, and with all the different boroughs is a vibe. So let's go into like again. Thank you for sharing that because like I moved out here as well, and it's definitely a different change of pace. As they say, the metronome. You know what I'm saying? The quote De La Soul, my heart beats NYC metronome. Like the metronome is quick. You know what I'm saying? So, but like, how did you get into like what you're doing with health? Because for those who don't know, Dr. Pooch, he's into health and wellness, and that doctor title carries a strong influence and notoriety. So how did you get into health, man? And based off your upbringing in LA, and then like how that led you into like currently.
Yeah. So as a baby, my parents, definitely my parents and family friends, they called me Dr. Pooch. So before I was of speaking age, before I, became, who I am, or my earliest parts of childhood and, adolescence, I was already Dr. Pooch. It was already a name, that I kind of, at that time, it just was what it was, I didn't, fully understand what that title was. But as I grew, of course, I didn't spread that name around too much. Not too many people outside of my immediate, family and friends knew that I was Pooch or Dr. Pooch. And so I learned to embrace it when I got into my, let's say, late 20s. And I got on this journey of health. I became certified as a holistic health coach. I started organizing in my community, and every Friday, actually, we would go down to. It was right off of Crenshaw. I'll just say like markers that everybody would know in thing, right? So Lamert Park area, right off of Crenshaw.
I've heard Lamert Park.
So we would organize in the community. There's a park that I like going to over there, right in the community. It's like a triangle park, we call it. So one week it would be 3 brothers. Next week, 8. Next week, I mean, to the point it was like 16, 17 brothers like at one time. And I'm leading discussions on health. And these are people that's in the industry, like producer friends. These are people, just DJs, local, cats that have, shops and doing their thing, street cats, you know what I mean? Like, just everybody, like a full array of people of Black men interested in their health, right? And it just became something powerful. So that led into a whole lot of things, but ultimately that led me to fully embrace this character of what I was named as a child, Dr. Pooch. And that's really how, a lot of this just came about. I feel like, destiny definitely played a role in that, in that sense that, I was already given the moniker, and I had to come full circle and really just embrace it. I'm still learning, who Dr. Pooch is and what Dr. Pooch represents, learning how to embody that energy, because it's definitely a lot, right? It's definitely like, from what I see and from what I've already put forth, it's a weighty title. So I have to, kind of live up to that,
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. And, like, so that's interesting, man, that your family was calling you that at an early age. So that definitely led into, Kai and I talk about this a lot, about inherent skill set and divine purpose, and that definitely, I can see how that could lead into you in your life and your purpose and what you're doing now. And is there anybody in your family that is like a doctorate or in the medical field or close related to the medical field?
No, I grew up kind of interesting. So I did at one time live with a pharmacist. I lived at one time with a scientist. He wasn't part of my family, but he was like a biochemist, just really kind of just out there kind of guy. And so I've never actually never thought of it like that. But I have lived with scientists, and I have another auntie. She's a pharmacist as well. She owns a pharmacy, and this is in Senegal. So my dad's side is Senegalese.
Okay, I was gonna ask. Okay, yes.
Right. So from LA, I started messing up and following just, this the negativity that was going on in the neighborhood and surrounding areas. And, my brother and I, and we both got sent out by my dad to go live somewhere else.
Wow.
So that just blew my mind. When that happened, it was like, okay, imagine like early 90s. I'm a kid from LA going to, different places, Europe, different places in throughout West Africa.
Wow.
And I'm just, little kid, kind of looks like Snoop, kind of, like, it's just that vibe. And so like, I've always been like cool under the radar, well accepted by everybody, like, well, you know what I mean? But still kind of humble, play the background, know who I am, you know what I mean? And so I was able to just, become like a word, that's who I am. Like, I can't really, deny that fact. And when I came back to the United States, that's when culture shock kind of happens. You gain all this experience and then you come back and you're like, oh, snap. So yeah, definitely. I mean, the sciences was something interesting. I'd say it wasn't really my relationship with scientists, but maybe my relationship with health, because I was very sickly as a child, right?
Wow.
So I caught malaria many, many times.
Wow.
As a child, like many times.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, at one time I was like withered away by malaria, where, family members were shocked. Those that knew me, like, they were like, yo, what is going on? So throughout those experiences, I was exposed to like natural health. I was exposed to, herbal medicines and things like that. I was exposed to the pharmaceutical side as well. And so I was able my whole life to just think about these concepts. And, finally, when it came back to like me becoming who I wanted to be, I sought out a path in medicine. Holistic medicine wasn't even really a popular term at that time. I had to wait and search a couple of years until like in the early 2000s, it became a term, right? But that's how open my mind was. It like there wasn't even a path for me yet. I had to just go off of faith and like dig from within and kind of create what needed to be created. And that's what I'm still doing to this day.
Hey, oof. Oh man, that is a very unique story, because I've never heard anybody suffer from malaria multiple times. Because from my knowledge, from when you go over to certain countries and things, that you can catch malaria, and it's painful. Like, it's like, you're very sickly, but for you to catch it multiple times and to come out of that, that's amazing. That's amazing. God, I don't know.
No. A lot.
Like,
I'm me. I'm a student. I'm learning. I'm listening. Dr. Pooch, I have like two key questions I want to ask you. Have you ever had anyone question your credentials? And I'm gonna give some context to what I'm asking, because one of the things that I've learned growing up, and it frustrates me, and I'm still learning how to navigate that course and how to address it, is the stereotype or the stigmatization with regards to education credentials. So for me, when I'm in certain circles, the question comes up, hey, where did you matriculate from? And a lot of my questions are going to be centered or from the perspective of young people, so be ready. But where did you matriculate from? What college did you come from? So it is levels to it, right? So if you say you matriculated from a community college, they look down at you, oh, community college, or you matriculated from, a college that's not well known. But if you say you matriculated from or graduated from Yale, Harvard, one of these big colleges, then all of a sudden you're looked at differently, high esteem or what have you. And I think that's a flaw in our society, because there's a lot of students who are graduating from these prestigious schools and they're not learning anything. They're just robots. All they did was memorize, but they weren't. The colleges now don't teach students to think. You understand what I'm saying? They teach them to memorize, but not to think. And that's why I believe society is where it's at to a large extent now, because colleges is taking on the connotation of being a business and not necessarily, an actual institution that helps create young leaders. My question, tying in, giving you some context, have you ever came across any resistance in terms of people questioning your credentials, where they've known you as Dr. Pooch and they're like, oh, well, where did you matriculate from? Where did you get your doctor and stuff degree? And then your answer is, it's kind of this way or that way, or like how do you deal with that? That's my question to you. How,
Yeah,
how
sure.
you handle
I
that?
understand your question. I've definitely felt that before. I felt the being scoffed at, or being, oh, that's just, it's a cute name. I think Dr. Pooch, when you hear Pooch, for those that are American, they understand, like, Pooch is just, they understand already. It's just a nickname. Like, it's a cool nickname. And to me, especially when, like, it's like, oh man, that just, it makes people smile. But I had one lady in particular in the LAUSD, and that's why I had to leave LAUSD. She was in there, Dr. Darnice Williams. I'm gonna put her name out there because, she was just so over hindering to me, in my development, over hindering. And I don't know if it was because of a jealousy, if it was because of the audacity that I could call myself doctor, or whatever it is, right? Or just the low vibration of certain people, that they just want to be that, barrier in your, in your development. Whatever it is, she definitely had a problem with that. I don't know why. She definitely had a problem with, what I represented. And, this was somebody high up in LAUSD. So I believe that definitely it's there. However, I'm working here. I work with some of the most prestigious hospitals, and they have no problem calling me. It's funny how I see them, like, interchange. It's, oh, hey, Hassan. Hey, oh, Dr. Pooch. Hey, this, like, they understand that this is who I embody. And at the end of the day, I've been saying it, like, at the end of my career or throughout my career, somehow I know it's being manifested right now. They're going to have to give me an honorary doctorate for what I do, right? I don't need to go and get in debt to a system that's really not going to teach me anything, and that I've already done work, excellent work, and that I'm still continuing, this line of work from somebody who should have been from those institutions. How is it that my mind developed these a whole system that's changing our relationship with health, that has, well, it's doing that nationally now, like at a small level, right? But why did that come from somebody who wasn't accredited or didn't go through that academic system? So they're going to have to respect, and I've been on panels. I remember being on panels in LA, and this was like, it was at the Coliseum, and then we had, I'm just giving you perspective in terms of the neighborhood, right? Okay. So Coliseum is, we're deep in South Central at that point, right? Off of Figueroa and King. And so predominantly Black neighborhood. Okay. And I'm on a panel with pharmacists, doctors, all different types of people, and everybody can introduce themselves and say what they want about a particular answer, or particular question, or topic that was presented right before. Everybody has their chance to speak. But when Dr. Pooch speaks, now the crowd is getting, like, interested in what they're saying, and then, oh, hey, I have a question for Dr. Pooch now. Now people feel certain ways about that, Then they try to hush me up, and like they have more authority to speak, but the question wasn't directed to you, doctor, or ma'am, sir, whatever. It was directed to Dr. Pooch. Allow Dr. Pooch to answer. So certain people have, they're going to feel what they're going to feel. But the proof is in the pudding. Like anything that I've said, anything that I've, done and showed and created has been something that holds its own weight. Let's just say that. So, all of these accolades and at the end of the day, Dr. Seuss, who were accrediting for, changing childhood literature, he had no doctorate as well. He was given an honorary doctorate too, So there's many people that we know of as doctor, but they didn't go through this. It's what's here. And on a sidebar, doctor comes from a Latin term, docere, and docere means to teach. So when is the last doctor that you taught to that's really teaching you? They don't teach anymore. They look at you like a paycheck because they're so in debt. They have to keep you sick I'm talking in the medical field now. They have to, these doctors have to keep you sick, or even doctors in the academic field, they have to keep you ignorant or in a certain box. That's traditional to their contemporaries. They can't go against what the common field theories or whatever like theories are within their field, right? They can't really think. So why would I pay to be in a box and then controlled and then have threatened my license taken away? How many doctors got their license taken away in the last 4 years since the pandemic? You know what I'm saying? How many doctors were threatened and you know what I'm saying? Like real. Come on, like so what? Now I would pay, be in debt, my whole family suffering from the time and money loss because I went into a system, begged them to be in a system. Like, come on, it doesn't even make sense at the end of the day.
Yo, Doc, you sure you don't want us to edit that out? You speaking some truth, brother. You upset some people.
It is what it is, but we see right now that our education is being attacked. Our systems are crumbling. Like it's like, now that freedom of speech and all of these things are overtly being attacked. Now I think is really the time to like just give up our hands and say, you know what? Let's just say what's on our mind, because they could censor anything. You know what I mean? It's just like, look, I'm not gonna be, everybody like I always laugh at people on TikTok. They don't say they got killed or they're dead now. They say they got unalived. And it's like algorithm don't know what unalive is. You know what I'm saying? I'm like give me a break, dude. Give me a break, man. So it's like they're changing the way that we talk and the way that we interface with each other to try to. It's like at the end of the day, we just got to speak what's actual fact if we want to bring about some truth. Otherwise, these systems are destroying us. Like, look at what's happening in Colombia. I'm in Harlem right now. Colombia is going to go. They shut down the whole campus. It's going to be virtual, the whole campus.
Are you serious? What?
Wow.
That's what I read. That's what I heard. We could fact check it. I'd be, happy to fact check if you got a computer on you. I heard that a major donor pulled like a lot of money, because of this whole thing. And now the whole campus is going virtual. They shut down the whole thing.
So hold on, they pulled a lot of money because of what whole thing?
Because of the protest.
Well, because of the protests, because of the sit-ins, because of the stance on the Israel-Palestine war.
Got you. Got you.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Because this was a spark that ignited. It's always New York, LA, where the antithesis of each other. So it's like polarities, like positive, negative, positive, whatever it is. We need each other. And so as soon as it happened in Columbia, boom, UCLA was cracking. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, oh, wow. So if you have to control these pockets, that's why LAPD got militarized, and now all of a sudden NYPD is militarized.
Right.
Because now we see the undertone of like what actually is at play here. Who's actually controlling these things? We got hit to a lot just in these last few weeks over what happened over there. Like,
true.
It's wild.
Yeah,
so I mean, so I'm saying all of this to say, like, these systems, these people are trying to like kill us mentally, spiritually, physically. Their systems are choking us. We cannot say what we want, and if we're not going to do it now, then when? Because these systems are becoming more and more and more and more invasive and controlling, and just limiting that. What will we have a right to in the next 5 years or the next, so like you said, thinking is a luxury. I'm blessed that I was given the time that I could sit down and think and learn how to think a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? I'm a little bit of a thinker. And so that's an ability that not everybody has. So, that's a responsibility too, because now it's like, okay, I've been calling this out for the, I called that out, I called that out, I called that out. And so it's like, all right, damn.
Right. We know more now. We know more now. So we feel like we have the ability and the responsibility to do more. Yeah. That is the burden of knowledge, as they say, if you can call it that.
And to that point, not to cut your wisdom, Dr. Pooch and Kyle, Napoleon Hill wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. And one of the famous quotes that he has in that book is called thinking is the hardest. I think he was talking about Ford. Ford made this quote in one of them. And the quote is instantly remembered as, thinking is one of the hardest work there is. That's why so few people engage in it. And that's what's so profound to me, right? Because it speaks volumes in and of itself. So yeah, to your point, and like you said, complimenting everything, thank you, right on point. So we need, as a community, to start to really invest time and be deliberate in thinking and not allowing our minds to be controlled, because I don't want to get too far off on tangent. With the advancement of technology today, before it was the boob tube. So the boob tube, that's what we used to call the TV, right? TV was something that would dominate our thought processes. We would sit in front of the TV and just go brain dead because we're being indoctrinated and programmed by what we see on TV. But now with the advancement of technology, with the iPhones and the iPads, Cal brought this up in regards to the and it's even being more pervasive for programming. And that's why we see a society today that when you go out in public, you see everybody on their phones. They're being programmed and indoctrinated not to think. They're being pushed this narrative. They're being pushed these images. And that's what's, I think, contributing to the demise of our society and regarding us not thinking. So to that point, I think we want to emphasize to our listeners and community, start being deliberate in thinking, getting yourself off the technology and start thinking. One other, in line with that, as we talk about young people, what is a challenge, in your opinion, Dr. Pooch, that most youth face when it comes to being healthy?
I want to touch on. I'll answer that in touching on the last topic, which is technology. I don't think technology is inherently evil or inherently bad for us. I think it's necessary. I think it's great that we have it. I think it could be used in different ways, positively or negatively, to advance us. I think right now the situation is that unhealthy practices in every form of food, I'll say food in quotations, because food could be entertainment, like you said, food could be, right? Anything that we ingest is just bad for us, because that's what corporations are putting together. They're putting this sloppy joes together that they can just, you know what I mean, and keep the trade moving. And so it's like, the meals that are prepared for us just don't have that element of care or love. Just like so that goes within media, that goes within music, that goes within agriculture, that goes within, restaurants, everything. There's just the love element is taken out because of capitalism. Like, love should be, love is a real element. It's a real molecule. Like, it's a real something that can change the molecular structure of things, right? Of water. Like, we know that now. We know that that's no longer, holy water. I used to laugh you know, when I seen the priest in the back and he was filling up the holy water, you know, I
Mhm.
laugh at him like, man, you know, like I had serious jokes. But now I know that the joke was on me. Like he knew something about praying over water and how that changed the structure of water. Like that is
Mhm.
real, you
That's
know?
real.
And now
That's
we
so
have
real.
proven that scientifically. So we're just being fed, we're being fed somebody else's how can I say it? Like I see what I want to say, but it's like we're filling up somebody else's pockets to supposedly make them happy, but they're miserable.
Yeah.
You like you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like the people that are benefiting off of our destruction
Yep.
are actually still miserable.
Yep.
So it's not even that it's not even like they're doing this to make themselves happy. Like that movie about the trolls or whatever, like they had to eat the trolls because they think that eating a troll is the only thing that's going to make them happy.
Yeah.
Like they're missing the love element.
Yep.
They're missing the most important molecule that's transformative. And so it's just a shift in our value system. Like it's the value system is changing right now, but long story short, that's why we're just so unhealthy, because our value system is on something that's inherently bad for us, because there's just it's an imbalance of elements. It's just all profit, greed, poison, toxin. You know what I'm saying? Like everything on the negative side and nothing on the regenerative, giving back, healthy, nutrient dense. Like there's nothing on this side, and it's all like. And so we just got to stop believing in it and stop supporting it, because no love can come out of that. Nothing good will ever come out of that system. So it's just choices. And then to tie it into the media piece is we need to start taking more control over our media to bring better content through that'll help people align with their health. Like, there's cats right now, Dr. Yaki. He's doing this thing and teaching people. Dr. Ali Muhammad. Like, there's a lot of cats that's out here teaching people real science, and making it palatable, making it entertaining enough for us. So now we could take that and then build on that and make, because it's not the TV, the boob tube that's inherently wrong. It's just what is the content that's coming through that. Because that content, like we're using TikTok right now. People use TikTok to educate themselves in China and other parts of the world. We're using it to like, for the most part, we're using it just to, entertainment.
Yeah.
Because we're trained this way, So who's training us this way? Like, who wants us to be, who thinks it's a good idea to have 40, 50, 60-year-olds just in the mode of constant entertainment? Like, the values of this country are done. Like we're at the rebuild right now. So if we're not shifting our minds to like, okay, we're the ones that have to pick up the pieces and start shit. You know what I mean? If you're still thinking it's out there, somebody else is gonna have a system this system it's a wrap. This system is wild right now. It's a free for all. Like there's no, so that system cannot feed us. That system cannot, like read the news right now. We could talk about like articles right now came out yesterday, 2 days ago, like that are very concerning for food for our children. I was at a birthday party. Like sometimes my mind is my worst enemy, because I'm like, yo, how could I, like, yo, these you didn't read the article about this brand of apple juice, Martinelli's, that has high lead content in it, and I'm sitting here at a birthday party and they're passing it around, and like,
it's true. Yeah.
So it's like, whoa, okay. But we just have to get to the solutions now. How can we like implement solutions? Because there are solutions for all of that, So It's wild, man. It's
Thank
wild.
you,
But
bro.
It
Yo,
is.
this
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
loving this.
Yeah.
Go
And
ahead, Doc.
I appreciate Dr. Pooch, you sharing this with us, because I will say this, as far as what I've noticed, a lot of times because I've been practicing vegetarian veganism for a long time, over 20 years now. And what I've noticed, even in my own development, family, I'm not going to front. I've eaten meat. I don't do beef or pork, but I've eaten chicken and turkey here and there, certain events and things like that. So I'm not completely vegan or vegetarian, but I do eat that most of the time, probably like 80 to 90% of the time. But when I hear people talk about this, it's like they always talking about what's wrong, what's going wrong with this, and don't eat that, and don't eat this. And I see a lot of my people who want to engage, they get frustrated. So I know, working with youth, I know that sometimes you can be, like, adults can be very temperamental. So how do you handle, like, engaging with the youth with your mission of health and nutrition and just awareness when you're talking with them and working with them in certain school systems?
yeah, I mean, we got to utilize the culture, right? So we got to make it cool. We got to be a representative of what that means. We got to look cool ourselves. We got to look fit and look, you know what I mean? Like, oh, that's something I want to be like, if we're now the, and
Yeah.
the big homie and all of that, like
OG.
we're the
Yeah.
OG, right? So
Yeah.
if we're not looking the part, how can we talk anything about what needs to happen, right? So in terms of that, like, that's one sense of utilizing the culture, because we are the culture, right?
Mhm.
And then the next part is create the content that children vibe to. And that's what I did. I created the content that children are like, oh, I love that. And they're putting their conscious energy into loving,
Yeah, you definitely got to show. I was like, yeah, definitely show the people, man. Yeah, definitely.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Superfoods are super fun. Oh, that's cool. You show this to any child, any boy, especially from 4, 5, 6, 7, they're like looking at it,
Mhm.
they're looking at it because it has all the elements of things that they love, right? It has the superheroes, it has the yellow, the red, the exciting colors. Oh, but he got veggies over here. Okay, these things look familiar. They're already indoctrinated to love these things. So now I just took a flip. I just said, look, let me grab the same elements that they already are in love with, but then I'm gonna make him brown. He gonna have some kinky hair,
Yeah.
He gonna
Yeah.
have, you see what I'm saying? He's gonna
Mhm.
look like the kid on the block, like from, ideally he was like half black, half Mexican. That's because I'm from LA, so I was thinking about that demographic,
Indeed. Indeed.
So it's like, now I created the content that they can vibe to. I created their hero that when I see kids, here, let me show you this one. When I see kids of all colors coloring this logo,
Mhm.
Very good,
right?
Doc.
They're
Telling you.
coloring this
He's like,
logo,
yes,
Very
right?
good.
being
White
meditative.
girls, black girls, every, boys of all color, Hispanic boys. They're
Very
putting
important.
color on him. He's not just the pale, dude now. Now
Right.
he has color. So that, like, what is the 5-year subconscious of these children now? And like, so here's the story with this right here, right? They have a lot of printouts. So this is, I work in a school. I work with several schools, but I work in one school in particular 3 days out of the week. This was last semester, right? We just ended our summer school program.
Okay.
So I'm always bringing in books. I'm always bringing in, different like materials. Or, I conduct my after school program with K through 3rd grade, right?
Okay.
So they have my printouts. A teacher's assistant showed me that they have, along with Spider-Man, along with Sonic, and all the contemporary heroes.
Yeah.
They have Get Well Johnny, my guy in the yoga pose, and the kids are like, "Yo, I want that," and so they'll give them anything that they want. They, hey, we just want to keep you, like, if a teacher doesn't show up, if a teacher's late or something like that, they need to keep these kids
Bless.
busy.
Engage,
Right?
yeah.
They're
yeah.
like, yo, here's some handouts, here's some color, you know, everybody take your crayons out. They want to color this little colored boy, brown, black skinned boy, meditating, you know what I'm saying? Honoring
Yeah.
himself with a fat little belly and all that. But all of that is like making sense to them because it's about health. It's about, so
They definitely
like, so now I did it. At least that's first step in starting to do it. I used the culture. I was able to create a character that the children fall in love with, that speaks to them and that changes their behavior. Like this is it's revolutionary what I'm doing.
It
Yes,
is.
it is.
It is,
Absolutely.
brother. It is. And I'm gonna speak to you like as a Black educator, you know, starting with the primary ages, like the second, third graders on up to high school. Those years are very important for those who don't know. It's very important as far as the imagery and the perception of themselves as let's say people of color, but we're gonna say African, indigenous people of all different ethnicities and nationalities. But that's very important for them to see themselves in a positive light, to be able to engage not only for their own enjoyment, but for their upliftment and perception of self. You know what I'm saying? Like a positive perception of self. And that's something that I was privy to as a child. My parents, my mother specifically, made sure we had mostly Black books in our household. Again, it wasn't all Black books. She probably would have wanted that way if she had her, but it was like 95% Black books because she knew I had to see, me and my brother had to see positive images of ourselves in different scenarios, fairy tales, narratives, folk tales, real stories based off of like children's real lives. That we have to see that because we have to begin to see ourselves in a positive light. And on top of that, you as a Black male, which I want to go into briefly because I know Kylie has another question. I want to go into you as a Black man in these spaces as an educator, because you touched on it earlier. And I wanted you to talk about that because typically we don't associate Black males with the K-6 or the K-7 primary educational grade. So I want you to talk about that somewhat.
Yeah.
You
know, it's so amazing. So I've now been in the second largest school district in the nation, which is LAUSD, Los Angeles Unified School District. And now in the Department of Education, which is the first, right? So on the West Coast, it's a lack of Black teachers. And so literally before I left, the summer before I left to come to New York, I was trying to get my child into a bilingual school, French bilingual program. And so there's a school on the West Side that I had found, and I was this close to getting him in. You know, he was like next on the list, and the woman loved me so much at the front desk. She was like, look, like, do you need a job? Like, what do you need? Like, we need you here. Like, what, you know what I'm saying? And so it was like, wow, a reminder, because I've worked a lot in schools. You know, a lot of my a lot of my just regular jobs were in schools, right? And so I realized how easy it is, first of all, to always get a job as a Black man in a school, right? Like that's something that Black, men don't think about, right? And so I've had a lot of time like thinking about this, right? Because I've had really impactful moments as an educator, non-accredited, all of that.
Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly.
So educator nonetheless, like, I remember one school when I was 18 years old, they gave me my own classroom. Like, I was so good at doing what I was doing, at turning children's day around, that when they had like, this was like a school for like special needs and stuff like that. They had, when they had like, meltdowns and they just, couldn't be restrained. They had to restrain them or whatever. They would send them to Mr. Hassan's class, and I would turn their day around. Like, so they gave me my, like, that's what being an educator really is. Like, so it's not really the accolades, it's or the acronyms or whatever that go behind doing some schoolwork. It's do you know this stuff in the field, So I've had years and years and years of like just understanding this energetic exchange, right? Because it really is an energetic exchange. And now I'm going to break it down even metaphysically, right? Because it's really, a Black educator is so needed. A Black male is so powerful in a setting amongst children, because children thrive on structure.
Yes, they do.
They thrive on structure.
Go ahead,
They
brother.
thrive on consistency, right? And they thrive on boundaries, you know, not
Yes.
limitations, but boundaries. Like I
Yes.
can take it this far and then I got to reel it back in,
Of
you
course.
know?
Of
So
course.
that is what the Black man represents. That is what the Black man is. That is what melanin is. Melanin is the structuring function of every action of the body, every organ, right? Melanin is that communicator. Melanin is that one that sets the boundaries. So that's why in this world, we see it as, when the Black man comes in, children line up. They know what it is, because energetically they feel they have to follow this structured melanated being. You know, that's really how powerful it is. Like, I haven't heard anybody break it down like exactly like that, but honest to God, like that's what I really feel, you know? And the more melanated you are, the more powerful it is, where they just feel an alignment, like, oh, I need to get in line and I need to prove myself to be, you know, and the best teachers will be those male figures that will just bring it out of them and be, you know, they'll always remember it their whole life. Like, oh, Mr. Such and Such, like he got me back in line, you know, he did, you know what I mean? Because that's how powerful a father is, being there, you know. And I'm not knocking like any other race. A male presence, a father is that powerful. But amongst all races, we have to say that the melanated, you know, the intensely melanated person is the most perfect genomic out there. So that's like that's something that, you know, that's what nature perfected. And then everything else is like, all right, we came down some levels, you know what I mean?
Dr. Pooch, you gotta let me interject, man. Go ahead, hurry up, finish your thought. But I'm go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Good. Let me interject. All right, so now I don't mean to cut your wisdom, but for our listeners out there, and Cal, you can attest, Dr. Pooch, I'm with young people, teenagers, the teen demographic from 13 to 18, every day out of the week in my partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. And I have to re-emphasize and overemphasize what you're saying in regards to the impact that a Black melanated man has among young people. It is powerful. And why I'm so inspired right now and why I'm speaking like this is because, thank God, I felt it. I was going through this, but not everybody else could recognize it. And to hear you say it is confirmation of what I've been going through. I am telling you, brother, when I'm in that class, I have young brothers and young sisters who, when I walk into the teen rec area, they're policing themselves because of the guidance and the boundaries that I set forth. When I'm not there, when I'm at my other clients, I'm gonna wrap this up, give you back the stage. This is what, and this is just, there's so many other examples I'm gonna give, but I'm just gonna give this one highlighted example. Once I secured my contract with another client and I couldn't be in that space 5 days out of the week, it's 2 days out of the week that I'm at my other client, I saw total disarray. When I was there, for the months that I was there, that rec room was organized. When they played games and structured, it was respect. It was my ability to be able to check behavior, call them outside in the way that I do, have a one-on-one conversation with a real man, be able to listen to them, and then give my wisdom to them that they would apply, knowing that there are consequences for their actions, that kept that balance in that room among young men and young women. When I wasn't there for those 2 days out of the week, when I would come back that third day, which would be on a Friday, the whole room would be disarrayed. They had to pull up signs of laws and rules and stuff like that. Pool sticks would be broken. Balls would be missing, whatever the case would be. While I was there during that time, never had any of those problems. Just to confirm what you're saying, that energy, that feeling, that melanated presence of a black man in the classroom is what provides that structure that these young people resonate with, that they connect with, and they fall in line with, brother. Thank you so much for confirming that. That's it. The floor is back over to you. I had to throw that in there, man. I had
now scale what you're saying now to every household or at least 60% of the households throughout the hood. The household falls apart. Because I know when Pops left, I knew I could run I could run game on Mom's because she got a soft heart. You know, I could do whatever I wanted because Mom's is Mom's is not Dad.
Right.
Go ahead, bro.
So it's any man is important. Any male figure is important. But in the Black community, they knew specifically how to create that havoc, that no structure, exactly what was just said. What happened to the rec room? Like that was our homes that got wrecked. That you know what I'm saying? It's the same parallel, man. Because a Black man nobody can argue that biochemically, biologically, that is melanin's function. You know what I'm saying? It's checkmate. Like, look, argue that. That is not arguable. That is the structure of our reality. And this is what's like being attacked on a large basis in our community. So the food attacks that melanin structure, This is the basis for our sickness, Like it's because that is being attacked, So once we start having more of these Black men that are enlightened, concerned for themselves and understand that they're the vicegerents of society, that they're the ones that need to get society back in order. That we're, the ones that need to get society back in order. Like it can only come from this type of structure. You know what I mean? Like just like all systems were stolen, now we understand that we're coming to these knowledges right now, like that all these systems were taken from indigenous cultures, and who were the indigenous cultures? Like we're starting to understand and peel back the layers of the trick that was done over years, So we're very important to, and we could see the lack of structure, the chaos that's being, in politics and in the world right now is because we don't have such a powerful role like in these things. These economies are based off of our oppression. Like look what's happening in France right now. They're like, yo, we're not gonna have, we're gonna have to be sending our grandchildren to Africa to get jobs, Like they're shaking in their boots right now because the power structures are shifting, So what's going to happen when those power structures ultimately shift? Like, okay, Africa has to take a more nurturing role. The South America, all of these countries have to take more, dominant roles into the energy that's put out into the world, because we've been on some real low vibration energy, like in everything, everything. It's been real right here, like, I at least I don't know, prove me wrong. I can't think of anything that's like been like, wow, this has been great for humanity. Like, in the last 200 years, like there has been nothing. It's just been like constant. And so I think we're all tired of that. The jig is up. We all want a change. We all want better for ourselves and our future.
No, thank you for sharing this, my brother, because this is important, because as Black men, as educators, on top of that, man, a lot of people really don't understand how dedicated we are to our youth and our communities and our families. And that's something that has been misrepresented in all of us, as far as like our imagery of who we are and the sacrifices that we continuously make, we have made and continuously make, to make sure that our youth and our children and our families are better. So I want to ask this question because, you know, Kaide and I have this conversation a lot in reference of hip hop. I know you talked about in some of your material when we talked with you how influential hip hop was to you. Do you think that hip hop is still influential to you and your work that you do with the youth and families, or has it been co-opted to a certain degree where you feel like it's not as effective as it once was currently?
Nah, man. Look, we see it right now. That's why, like, out of all times, I wish I was in LA right at this point.
Yeah.
Because I would have been at the pop out, like, yo,
Yeah,
what up? Like,
yeah.
you know, it's just it's so amazing. Man, I'm seeing, like, you know, people that I know, people, you know, circles that I was, you know, kind of, you know, close to and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, even that whole thing, like, you know, it's just amazing to see that, you know, to see that this culture that we have is so powerful. So I think hip hop is in a great place right now. LA really took it back, the West Coast, and not only not I'm not, you know, let's not only say LA, because it wasn't even LA. Let's say that's Compton, first of all.
Yeah,
So,
yes,
you know, respect to Compton, right? But you know, Compton, LA, all of that. But the Bay is doing an incredible job. Vallejo, right? The Bay, they are doing an incredible job of keeping the culture alive. There are some incredible artists that are over there and really flipping the industry upside down. So they're the ones that are going to take us into the future. Hip hop is ours, you know. Hip hop, it was co-opted by the forces, you know, the powers that be. They
corporations, yeah.
Right? And anything that they touch, because like we talked about with the food, because it's just no love in it, it's gonna be destroyed just by that fact. And so they try to, but you see what real love did, like it exposed, like that. Just right now what's going on in hip hop is so mind-blowing, because it literally exposed everything that multimedia, everything that social media, everything that the woke community, everything that everybody was trying to, like, you know, highlight and expose of, you know, this Satanism going on in the industry, this pedophilia going on in the industry, this you know, the monopolies that are going on in the industry, the elitism that's going on in the industry, like the racism that's going on, like so much. It was exposed in this battle between Kendrick and Thing, and it's almost like that was a war that was fought symbolically of, like, Israel Palestine, and kind of symbolic of what is actually happening in real life. Like, they're actually losing the war. They're being exposed left and right and actually losing. The media is not telling us what's really happening over on that side, you know. But you know, it's a different narrative right now. So the whole so just like Drake is the world's bad guy now. He's getting booed, and he had a show the other day. I saw it. As far as I could tell, it's not a fake video. He had a show where the DJ that was playing that show played Kendrick's record, They Not Like Us, in the middle of his set, and like shamed him off stage. Like, so this is happening worldwide. He's being shut down, you know? He's being labeled as a pedophile, which is a behavior that we don't rock with, you know? These are things that now it's like, you know, like back in the early days of, you know, cocaine or whatever. Oh, all right, we don't sell to pregnant mothers. We don't sell to this. We don't. All right, we could, you know, do whatever you do, but there's rules to the game. You know. Then people came in and said, "Nah, there's no rules." And right now we're at a lawlessness, because who's in charge? You know, we're at a lawlessness, right? Who's funding this lawlessness, right? So, you know what I'm saying? So here we are now, that in one rap beef, like, it exposed all of that, and now it's getting back to the center, to the okay, it's about skill, it's about love, it's about having fun, it's about unity.
What Dr. Pooch is saying is real, and real recognize real, and real is always going to rise to the top. It's going to always come to the occasion. And that's something that I truly believe, Dr. Pooch, is like the work that you're doing, the work that Kai and I are doing, the other brothers and sisters in the community doing, they could try to stop it, but it's going to forever be present, because that rules the day, structure, you know. Like you go into the metaphysics, I really truly believe that metaphysics is all about really structure. Now, for us, it may not make sense in what we see because we don't have the wherewithal to understand everything that's happening. But it's going back to structure, like you said, it's love. Like you mentioned, the type of thing, love, and I really want to go back to that too, because the questions I have for you were mainly about food and things like that, which is very key. And I want to get into that a little bit with this question I'm going to ask you. But like in regards to the things that we are ingesting, food and drink, how does love play into the choices we make as far as snacks or foods or meals that we eat? Like what have you noticed as far as like the love of self or what we're feeling in that time while we reach for certain foods or drink? Could you talk to us about that? Because I know with children, they typically consume whatever their parents give them. But we all know the bodega here in New York, the corner store in LA, you know, we know the
Right.
chips, cookies, the pop, soda, you know. Could you talk
Right.
about that?
Well, on one front where where I started going before you continued and elaborated on your question, why I always say that is because there was a study, and as far as I could tell, the study is authentic and real. It really happened. There was a group of kids that were given wholesome meals, right? All the nutrients necessary, but these kids were low key abused and neglected, right? They weren't given any real like human interaction, any love. They were just being disrespected and kind of like very abusive type of thing for child upbringing, right?
Right.
So next you have another set of children who were loved on by their caregivers, but were given the worst nutritional dense food, right? Now, out of those two groups, the children who were loved on actually thrived, and all of their nutrition, everything actually leveled out, just because of what they're calling this love element, right? And that's why I speak on love like it's actually a real tangible thing, like not only can it go into a bottle of water, but it can, we're majority water, we are that bottle of water, so by loving somebody, you can help them digest food better, or even extract minerals that maybe aren't even there, and alchemically flip that into something that you actually need. Make a protein that wasn't even there, or make a nutrient that your body needs just by love, like that's a real thing. So there's that aspect of it, but then there's the aspect, of course, like, do you love yourself enough to like, all right, that the glyphosate is in bread now. All right, that the glyphosate is killing us, man. Not a lot of people know about that. We can talk about it if you don't know what it is.
Yeah, please.
But,
please mention that too. Yeah.
All right, so glyphosate is, all right, let me do it like this. Agent Orange, okay? Agent Orange came out of the militarized industrial complex, right? Because they were losing the war in Vietnam. The Viet Cong was kicking our butts because they knew how to navigate the jungle.
Right. Tunnels and everything. Jungles, they had tunnels, all that. Yeah.
But they had a dense forest. Okay, that's the Viet Cong jungle. That was it was the jungle.
Right.
All right. So they had to spray Agent Orange, which would basically decimate the trees and just open up a pathway, because that's all we know how to do, fight out in the open,
Right.
All right, so we don't know this covert, jungle warfare, guerrilla warfare. We'll die at that, right? That's why, anyway, whatever. So we use chemical warfare to burn holes in their whole forest, right?
Okay.
That's Agent Orange. Okay, so then we won the war. We're the winners, right? So now out of that, companies like Monsanto, right, came. These same companies that were once making Agent Orange, now they said, okay, how could we wage war on agriculture? Because waging war is all they know how to do. There's nothing else. They've never shown that they have any other trick in their bag. They just know how to wage war, right? So now they said, okay, we're going to wage war on these crops, and we're going to make this chemical called glyphosate, which is Roundup weed killer, right? Roundup, the pesticide. The active ingredient is glyphosate. That is glyphosate that's killing the weed. So glyphosate goes to the most metabolic parts of the plant and destroys the plant. Okay, the metabolic parts of the plant are parts that do things, like, you know, that's metabolism. You know, it's doing things, metabolizing things, right? So your brain, your kidneys, your heart, your liver, those are high metabolic parts of your body, your stomach. You know, now this glyphosate does the same to our bodies. It goes and concentrates in the most metabolic parts of our bodies. So stomach, that's why a lot of people are having irritable bowel syndrome or IBS, inflamed bowels, the Crohn's disease, the all of those, you know.
Yeah, then with the bowels and the stomach and the intestines.
Right?
Yeah.
Then the liver disease, right? Then you're having the heart, issues. You're having all of these are related to, or can be related to, it's not a, one for one, but it's everywhere in our society. So anything that has wheat has glyphosate, right? So I kind of backtracked a lot because I'm explaining what glyphosate.
Indeed.
Of course.
What glyphosate is. So you okay? Because I'm giving you the perspective of how I was knowing this stuff, and that's why I said earlier, like, your mind could be your worst enemy, because you know this stuff, but then you go out and you're like, oh shit, this is all I have to eat.
Yeah.
What am I gonna eat?
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I know the bread has glyphosate. I know that this has that, right? Even the oils, like, okay, you're gonna eat some fries. You think fries are cool? All right, but what oil are they using in the fries? They're using either canola oil, soy oil, or corn oil, right? Those are the only 3 oils that restaurants are using. Well, guess what? All of those are GMO, and all of those are GMO'd to be resistant to glyphosate. So tell me this is not big business pushing a war product, right? To make their crops specifically resistant to glyphosate, which is responsible for destroying the Earth's microbiome, right? The Earth's bacteria and stuff, and our own microbiome, right?
Right.
So it's like, so now you know this stuff and you're like totally paralyzed.
Yep.
Or maybe you don't know and you're just ignorantly doing it, but then what do you do with the knowledge, right? So, but it's so, I can only give you from my perspective, but I've gone through this. I've been paralyzed and losing weight because I'm like in a place where at lunchtime I only have 30 minutes to get it in, and then I got to go back to work. Jesus. And I just walk around like a zombie, like, can't eat that.
Wow.
Oh, damn, what am I gonna do there? Oh shit, what am I? And by the end, I'm like, either I don't eat or I'm just like eat the wrong thing, and then it's here we go back into the vicious cycle. So it's like, what do you do? So it took years to develop skills to get yourself out of these systems, and where you're one, what to buy, to try to avoid these things. 2, even if you are forced to eat these things, what are other things that can neutralize these things in the body? How to pack your own lunches and just avoid fast foods and restaurants and stuff altogether, or know which restaurants to go to that aren't using those particular we gotta be educated in everything that we do, because we're being attacked on literally every level. There is not a level where we're safe at. There is none. It doesn't exist anymore, because all the powers that be know is war. So anything that is used and that's put out, it's a weapon of war. Like, show me one that isn't. You know, it's a weapon of war, man.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. And this is the thing, family, this is how deep it can go. And this is not to scare you, this is not to deter you, but this is to enlighten you and empower you, because you do have a choice. And that's what Dr. Pooch is saying, that it's a challenge, right? It's a challenge even for me. Like, even when I go out and certain things, I don't eat out as much anymore. And me and my lady, we talk about this a lot, where we have to pick and choose what we want to eat. And if we eat certain things that may not be the best, we know how to counteract it, and like with certain drinks or fasting or certain herbs and things like that that are natural. So it's a process. It's a whole lifestyle. It's like I'm not practicing vegetarianism or veganism because it's cute. I'm practicing because it fits with my lifestyle, as far as being more nature conservative, more environmentally aware, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's all these things that connect, right? And it goes deep. It can go real deep,
So thank you, Cal. Dr. Pooch, what are some, I gotta say, what function do your books serve in helping the community become more better? Like, what functions does your book serve? Or you already gave a lot right there, but are there any particular books that our listeners can look out for that can help them follow a guide or provide them with instructions, and give them like clues or resources to like what restaurant to go to or what foods to buy that don't have this chemical that's destroying our body? Like, can you guide us and give like brief?
Yeah, I mean, all of my books are informative. Let me see if I have it right here. Like this book right here, Toxic Tales. Right? I talk about the glyphosate, and I show common toxins that, for example, in New York, you guys recently got rid of this one, the 1,4-dioxane. You see that?
Well, I do see that. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
So that's in laundry detergent. So we're doing our laundry, and then the what's supposed to be cleaning it is poisoning us. So you see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, there is nothing that's out there that is on a massive scale that's helping us become better. It's all seems to be like, come on, we're not dumb as humans, no matter what color. We're not dumb.
Right.
Like, we know that there's positive and side effects and this and that. Like, why are we choosing anything that we push is detrimental to us? Hormone changing, hormone disrupting, hormone, like why is all of this whole list? I have a whole list of toxins that are in the household that children are exposed to. This is just a small list of what they're exposed to on a daily level, And then the glyphosate here. So
both this brother, man.
I'm coming from the California mindset, where like everybody has a lawn. Everybody's, has what I'm saying? Not here, right?
Not New York, yeah.
So, but in LA, everybody has a front lawn, and they all they might share the gardener. They might go to 2 houses on the block, 3 houses or whatever. It's the same like little cycle of like different cats, but they all do the same thing. Right. They all spray the Roundup on the grass so nothing else grows, and so it's a beautiful lawn, and you got the the archetypical picket fence, White House picket, all of that, right? So that's like the American dream, this concept that everybody's like brainwashed into believing, like, oh, this is what my house is supposed to look like. That's why I need the clean cut grass and stuff. But this glyphosate is literally, so this is an exercise in one of my books, right? In Toxic Tales. It's write a letter to your neighbor. And so the child goes, they put their name here and say, hi, my name is, such and such. I'm like, however, 8 years old. I noticed that your lawn is so beautiful. And I was wondering that if, basically praising them and then giving them some education and saying, I was wondering if you guys are using Roundup, which contains glyphosate, which has been linked to Crohn's, all of these things. So now imagine you as a neighbor, you open this up from a concerned child and you say, oh, wow, like, I didn't even know. I may be suffering from this stuff already. And I didn't know the correlation between this. Like, this is the micro influencing that's possible with an education series like this. Like, so I put everything, when I say everything, I put everything to reverse the trends and to make people aware of what can be done to eliminate these things from the environment.
Thank you.
And
Beautiful.
yeah,
Thank you.
man.
Profound, man.
Cal, before you ask your question, Cal, I want to ask Dr. Pooch. Dr. Pooch, do you have like an online course or webinar that you do? Because I think as you teach in schools, I don't like to use the term. I'm jealous, man, because they're getting all your knowledge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, is there something that you can share with the community at large? Like you said, that letter right there to parents and adults from a child. This is information I didn't know about this stuff, man. I mean, I hear about it. Cal tells me about stuff, but this is stuff that we need to hear on an ongoing, regular basis if we're going to reverse the trend. So do you do any like online webinars, like according to a schedule people can register for or sign up for, that you could like teach and educate us on?
Man, you're inspiring me. The more I'm thinking about, because like, to me, I've been I've been on this path for so long that a lot of this stuff is like common knowledge to me, But I realized that, like, I'm on at least a nice sized building on the rooftop, and people aren't even on the ground level yet. Like, understand, you know what I mean? Understanding basic concepts. So I am thinking about that. I've put a lot of thought into a course. I started it, I never completed it because I guess I didn't realize the value of these small things. I put it all into these books. So like me, I was just hyper focused on, I want this book series, like these 12 books, to represent every major holistic health subject matter or topic, like the major topic, and to be able to give like enough insight. Not, of course, it's not going to be all the insight and all the, but
of course,
enough to give somebody a foundation for that particular topic. So, I was so focused on that I was like, oh no, well, that is the course, but I'm definitely in the process right now of expanding and creating content that's one for children, like like a Sesame Street type version of this stuff, to make it really cool and palatable. Like, that's going to be my main focus for the rest of this summer, is creating things like that.
Thank you.
Where I could just, like you said, like, our presence is so, like, it is like what we vision out and what we do, but it's also our presence, right? So my presence can only be multiplied through multimedia. So if I can hire maybe another man or a woman or whatever to be in those schools running the program, but have the footage of me, right, teaching this lesson, this is something that I'm really, really beginning to understand. Like, this is something that I need to do to be able to scale this program all around the world, all around the country, at least.
Absolutely. Scaling. We're on the same line, same train of thought, Dr. Pooch. Thank you so much. Definitely look out for it, because I'm trying to do that in my organization as well, and just teaching these young people about career development, the soft skills, functional skills, and transfers. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to keep a lookout on it. And if I have any power, I have time, I'm going to follow up with you. Be like, yo, where's that seminar, bro? Where's that webinar? Come on. We're ready for this scale.
It's coming. It's coming. I'm starting to utilize, like, even for the last 2 days, I realized, like, my weakest point is technology. I don't know if it's like
no, I hear you.
It's just it's like a mental blockage, where it slows me down. And so I'm looking to hire somebody who can just, set those things up for me, because I already got everything set up. But there's certain, like, little things that I need in terms of the of that setup, very, very specific, that where I can start scaling this thing, because like I'm about to be very vocal, very consistent in what I'm doing, because that's all that's missing in what I do and what I represent. Like the only thing that's missing is that Dr. Seuss is still more popular than me, and you know, like that doesn't need to be. Like I need to, you know, take over that legacy, because he did what he did for literacy, but now health literacy is way more important. So, you know, I just need to knock him off the chessboard. Like, you know, all respect to him, but you know, he had his time, and now it's time for something new. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, indeed.
And to Dr. I know, Kyle, you want to interject, but I want to emphasize this. This is where we lack as a community, right? Because Dr. Seuss with the literacy, you know, had resources, had a community of support in these areas that helped them scale. This is where we need to come through as a community, to come together and provide those resources, because we got the technology. It's not like back in the days anymore. So we have all the tools we need to do it. It's just a change of our mindset. Is we have to reprogram ourselves to be able to adapt to technology, use it to our fullest, because we have all the elements there. I think Barack Obama said or something like that, or one of these leaders said that all we lack is organization. A large-scale organization as a community. We get that organization in there and put all those tools together. It's a wrap. One other final point, Cal, before you jump in. Are you concerned? And this is because Kyle knows I'm very conscious, and I'm always looking long term. Dr. Pooch, are you concerned regarding any pushback you may give from the powers that be, in which what you're doing is going to change a landscape? You're going to change an economic landscape, really. You're creating, providing information that's going to help, I would say, take, to some extent, that's going to hit the pockets of a lot of these organizations and corporations who are profiting off of our sickness. And Cal says it very well. They are literally profiting off our sickness. And what you're doing is you're going to knock that, or you're going to get people to start thinking more consciously, more health-wise, and it's going to hit their pot. Are you concerned of the pushback that you may give? Life-threatening, possibly? Like, have you ever thought about that? Like, what? Are you?
Yeah, you know, when I was selling books like all throughout LA, and you know, they used to say, "Oh man, that's the next, you know, Dr. Sebi," or he remind me of a Nip, you know, because like we were in the same neighborhood, and so both of these brothers got, you know, met an early demise, or a demise that they, you know, didn't really need to. I don't know if Sebi's was necessarily a conspiracy. I think he did have some health problems, and you know, we could. You know,
we could.
A separate conversation. It's not necessarily a conspiracy, but in our minds, everything is. You know, if we die and we black, we on this, you know, front stage, and damn it, you know, the powers that be didn't want us there. That's just life as a black person in general. You know what I mean? Like, you know, get used to it. Like we're not welcome in a lot of spaces. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't want us in the big house. And this is not like this is actually people in neighborhoods right now, you know, in certain neighborhoods that will knock on your door and say, "Nah, we don't really want you here. Like, why are you
literally?" Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's just, we're gonna be confronted with that. So it doesn't really matter. What matters is that, and another point before I say what matters is that people that are benefiting off of our demise, their systems are crumbling in front of their own eyes. It's not only in front of our eyes, they're here to witness that too. Their own families are being torn apart because their children rock with the culture, and they're like, "Yo, something is up." You know what I mean? A lot of people are being disowned and written off, you know, family insurance policies and all types of things, or, you know, trust funds, because they're not rocking with the agenda. So the agenda seems to be suicidal, because any sane person can see where we're headed. Like the
Right.
number, everything, like it's just outrageous. Actually, statistically, we're in the first generation of children, the first generation of parents that may outlive their own children.
Wow.
That's statistically where we are right now.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's when they say Generation Z, like, yeah, that's the end of the alphabet. You know what I mean? So
Good point.
Here-
Good point. Good point.
here we are, you
Good
know?
point. Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. Like if God put us here at this point in time and gave us a mind to say, I can see a new beginning. I can see how this system failed and what's wrong with this system and how to create another system. I can, then we just need to do the work. Like the work is going to take care of itself, because ultimately we're all going to die. You know what I'm saying? Like whether I like to say it or not, or I have kids now and, I want to be there for them and all of that. I do. I want to be a father. I want to be here for my children as long as humanly possible, like, so I want to be there, I want to be here and enjoy life at that capacity.
Right.
But my life is for a certain purpose and mission. So I found some purpose in doing what I do and bringing forth, the things that I'm bringing about. So that's part of the assignment. Like I can't be selfish in that I got to play the back role and, you know what I mean? And not think about what's bubbling inside of me.
That's
or
right.
the insights that I have. Like it's my responsibility to bring it forth. And then guess what? It will be brought out. And now it's starting to shift because that's how consciousness works. If I didn't get it, then somebody else would have got it. Or maybe both of us got it at the same time. And now we're multiplying that frequency throughout the earth. And now it's happening and normalizing. So, it is what it is. Like, I don't move. I've gotten like, I'm kind of tired of that. Like where in our community, where if anybody is doing something powerful, they're always, protect this brother or this, and it's always going to the negative. Like, nah, how about we just put, cast a positive spell on of protection and
man. Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of saying, oh man, better watch out, man. They don't like that, I'm like, look, I'm not gonna live by the, like spooky my whole life. You know what I mean? Like
right.
It doesn't make sense. So
it doesn't.
Like cause I mean now, like, like my mind is dangerous on many levels. Like I'm kind of out there on a lot of things that I talk about could be interpreted as dangerous. So what am I just supposed to like quiet down and just say, well, nobody really thinks like me, so I should just, or, like most pioneers, they say, actually, that's what they say about the pioneer.
Yeah.
They say, do you know how to see who the pioneer was? In a crowd, they say, look for the guy with arrows in his back.
Oh wow, dang.
Yeah,
I've heard that one.
Yeah, it's like so these, if you go against the grain and you're not really saying or regurgitating the same thing that everybody else is saying. Oh, this is the problem. This is the problem, and I believe this is the problem. What? And I agree with you that this is the problem. But hey, look, that this is the solution, right? To all the, you know what I'm saying? But nobody really wants to talk about that. So like, we're going to have to get to the point where we know what the solution is and we live in the solution. And now actually, hey, the solution is already here. Hey, do you know that this channel, man, he got hours of like, holistic health education for your kids and for you and for, you know what I mean? And so like, that's coming. It's in the making. You know what I mean? Like, we'll have animations, cartoons, like real soon. It's literally in the making right now. So, like all of that stuff will precede me, bringing it back to our earliest point of the conversation, like where a reputation precedes you. This work is going to precede me. It's going to outlive me just by nature. It's going to outlive me, So as it should. Like now, my children's children can say, yo, that Dr. Pooch, you know what I mean? Like, you're a descendant of that, you know what I mean? So now what if each of us like took our work on earth that serious? Like, what are you leaving for your children's children? Like, we got to set up our stuff like that, you know?
Legacy,
Thank
man.
you, brother.
Legacy.
Real quick, Cal, before you interject, when I went outside when we were at that lecture, and I was walking back in to Stacy's event where we met Dr. Pooch. Dr. Pooch was chilling on the side, and it was just so you know about this brother, from my personal perspective, he had an aura around him. He had like a peace around this brother. I'm just saying that to attest to this brother, Dr. Pooch's character. And that is amazing to me, brother. I am grateful for you. I am grateful for the work that you do. And thank you for sharing that in regards to taking our calling by the reins and going forth in faith and just trusting the process and knowing that that's a part of life and to leave our legacy for generations and generations to come. I just had to say that. Thank you, brother. This guy, I have, in my opinion, from what I saw, you can tell a lot about someone when they don't know you're watching them. And I just want to let you know I was watching you and I saw that aura and that peace about you, and it was wonderful, brother. And I hear people say that, you know. So I just go ahead, Cal.
No, indeed. I would concur on that, family. Like, definitely the brother is about peace. He's definitely legit, as you see. He's not fronting. He's not faking. You know, he's really legitimately doing this work out here, and that's why we want to have him on our platform. You know, I appreciate you taking the time. You know, Dr. Pooch, man, it's been awesome, man. I want to ask one last question before we end it out. It's a fun type of question. We usually do like top 5 MCs or top 5 influences. Top 5 snacks from Dr. Pooch. Top 5 snacks.
Nice.
Yes, healthy.
Nice,
So, nice. Top 5 snacks.
Yeah. So okay. So we'll do coconut water first.
Okay.
Right, because we got to stay hydrated.
Yep.
And then let's go into a juicy fruit. Let's do some watermelon.
Okay. Yeah.
Seeded watermelon. I'm talking about the black seeds. We need the black seeds. You don't need those like
all day.
The white seeds.
No.
Right.
No, black seeded.
And then you know, a nice man. If you put all right. I'm giving a major game right now. This is a great snack that you could just put it in a trail. If you blend it all together, you'll have the best brownie that you ever tasted. But without the chocolate piece, if you put in a bag, in a Ziploc or whatever, like before you leave, just put some dates, put some walnuts and some Brazil nuts together.
Yeah.
And that's like, it's a snack, but it's also so nutrient dense. You're getting your nice fats, you're getting your proteins, you're getting, some sweetness, some minerals, all of that. The selenium in the you're getting like all types of flavor and all of that. And it's pretty hearty. It'll take you, a few hours, like, just being in the city or like skipping meals, like it'll hold you down. But then if you add cacao powder to that and blend it all up, that's the best brownie.
Oh man.
The best brownie. Like, it tastes literally like a chocolate brownie, man. You put walnuts, cacao, maybe a little bit of like coconut oil, like to, change the viscosity. And then
that's 3.
Yeah. Just you blend that all up. Yeah, you there. And then I'll say like 2 more. Okay, I'll say I gotta get some greens in there. So, the medicinal teas like moringa. Moringa tea is a great medicinal tea. Or Irish moss, not the fake Irish moss that everybody got on every corner.
Right.
There's real Chondrus crispus. That is an amazing plant that like soothes your whole system and it satiates you, that's a great one. And then like chill out with a nice smoothie, put some, it could be like, put some coconut milk in there. Like it could be like a coconut milk smoothie, put some hemp seeds, put some, almonds, right? Make sure they're organic. Make sure they're organic because those are glyphosate. You have to start identifying what products have glyphosate.
Okay.
Start identifying what products have glyphosate so you know what to buy. Or like a smoothie, like some pineapple and some mango or something like that. Something to just, chill and take you down like that. You can easily skip a meal by doing that and just, snack on that. So it could be I gave you liquid form, frozen, just a drink to hydrate you, a regular like trail mix, like non-conventional, and then some medicinal teas,
Yeah. Word. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, man. Yes, family, I hope you took notes. I hope you listened up. I hope you cleaned out your ears, opened up your eyes, for this great conversation with brother here from the left coast, as I say, from the left coast, all the way here on the East Coast, doing his thing, spreading his love, as he talked about earlier, spreading his knowledge on health and wellness. My brother, we salute you, man. How can people get in contact with you, Dr. Pooch? Put it all out there, books, social media, everything.
Go to drpooch.com for everything. You're going to get a link to all of my social media platforms. From there, Dr._Pooch is usually what do they call it? The handle. All of the social media. So Dr._Pooch or just Dr. Pooch. So it's Dr. And then P as in Peter, OOCH.com. So you go to my website. I'd be happy if you guys want to donate. If you say you don't have kids and you like what I do, donate to the organization. I'm a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are in need of donations. We're in need of expanding this because essentially I don't want to sell books. I want to give them away. But, somebody has to buy them for me to be able to do this. Or a whole program. We could gift the program to a school if you like it, but in this society, we gotta feed ourselves and we gotta, circulate the money. So go to my website for that. All of my links are there. You can purchase on my books. I have books beyond the series for K through third grade. I started another series for let's say 4th and 5th grade up, which deals with like deeper, like more, I won't say esoteric, but like, just deeper concepts, deeper modalities that children can adapt. And so all of that is just on my website, drpooch.com. And definitely look out for me on TikTok, on Instagram. I'm gonna be doing a lot more lives and just fundraising. That's really what I'm focused on right now, is utilizing these platforms to get my word out and to speak more, because people seem to enjoy, what I say. So I'm blessed and happy that, I have something I think that's important that people, resonate with it. So help me be more accountable, help me be more active. The more motivation I get, the more creative I get. I have music and other things that I put out on YouTube. Just type in Dr. Pooch. I have whole hip hop albums that I've dedicated to holistic health.
Oh, wow.
Education. Yeah, man. I have a project called FDA, Food is Dope in America.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see the what to say, the not the conundrum, but I see the layers in that. Food is dope in America, food is dope in America. Like, oh man.
Yeah. FDA.
The double entendre. That's what I was trying to say. The double entendre.
That's right.
I see you.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we changing the acronyms to everything. We're making it our own. That's really what they are. They're really drug pushers. So it's the Food and Drug Administration. So they administer food and drugs.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. It is. Food in drugs. Or drugs in food. It's wild.
It's crazy.
But
it reminds me of Chicago on the local like stores. It's like it says food and liquor, like it food and liquor. You know what I'm saying? So it's wild.
Yeah, it goes together.
It goes together.
So, just type in my name and I'll definitely pop up at some capacity and hope you vibe with it.
Indeed, brother. Woo!
Dr. Pooch, thank you so much. Listen, for some help, consider volunteer match. I'm not sure if you heard it, but you're going to need support, brother. You're doing this all by yourself. Like you said, you're looking out for some help to help scale your business. So there's an
Yeah.
online for staff and support. They're willing to volunteer. You have a lot of people who may have certain skill sets in certain areas that they'll reply to you. So if you create an account on volunteermatch.com, that'll help a great deal for you. Okay.
Indeed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Another
And-
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cal, you about to say because there's.
No, I was
another-
gonna say, family, holla at this man.
Yeah,
Like, how
holla
we got
at
him on the
him,
platform.
support
Holla
this
at him.
brother.
Get at him. You know what I'm saying? Get at him. Help him out.
Yeah,
Like,
if you have a certain skill set, like if you're, I mean, you could already see if you're doing what you do and you're passionate about your particular field, you can see how, what I'm doing can branch off into this, into that, into that. I haven't spoken a lot about everything that I'm doing, but if you're a forward thinker and you want to create something that will benefit humanity, then reach out to me. Because in terms of marketing, I'm actively looking for a marketer. I have ads right now that I have to like really respond to with some people, but I'm gonna follow that up because look, I could save some money and find somebody even better at the task, because I'm kind of weary about working with just random people around the world and hire somebody in Malaysia, hire somebody in India. You don't know who that person is,
Right.
but I need a marketer. I need somebody to work with specifically in marketing. We can create a beast. Like I've already created it. Now we could just bring it to mass market. Like there's a lot, and a lot of money that can be generated from what I'm doing very easily through the grants. I've set it all up. Now I just need, that right person that I can work with that can, focus on one thing while I'm, doing what I'm doing.
Absolutely, brother.
Yeah.
And I'll reach out to you with the other resources that I have as well. And like
Thank
word of mouth, we'll help you scale. We'll help you as you work together as a community. So definitely, you're very welcome. Actions speak louder than words. Yeah, Cal, I'm sorry as we wrap this up. Yeah.
no, indeed, family. We appreciate you all's time. We thank you all for sharing your day with us, your time with us. Please like, share, subscribe to this channel, Grand Rise Collective. We here. We're doing things. We're having some shifts. We're doing some shifts and things with promotion. But like Dr. Pooch was talking about, getting our brand out there a lot more. So we're going to continuously work and build and invest in our communities, invest in ourselves, mostly because we want to be able to rise to the occasion. That's what the whole Grand Rising Collective is about. We are a collective. We are a collective of individuals and communities and not corporations, but organizations that help to build on top of what we already have and help to flourish for the next generation. Like that's the whole point. So, Brother Pooch, Dr. Pooch, man, brother, we thank you, man, for sharing our time and sharing our time with not just us, but the family and those who are listening. Please, again, like, share, subscribe to his page. Get at the brother directly. This is what it's about. Kadi, on that note, any final words?
No, you said it all, Dr. Pooch. I'm very concerned with your time. I thank you so much. We will stay in contact. We will stay in touch. I'm looking forward to supporting you, getting some information myself from what you're teaching these young people, because I'm a student too. I can learn. I'm still young myself in mind. So thank you so much. And on that note, we're going to do a 3, 2, 1 piece, as boring and archaic and old as it is.
They love it. They love it. They know they love it.
All right, 3, 2, 1,
Peace.
peace.
Yeah. Baby, yeah. You know, say, ready on this. You know, I have patience.